welcome, everyone. This is your girl, Leslie T. Mitchell. And so, welcome to You Can Have It All. And so, listen, this is our first time getting to know one another. So, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. And so, again, my name is Leslie T. Mitchell. I am out of South Florida. And so, just a little bit about me. So I'm married this year. My husband and I will be married for 25 years. Yes, we were college sweethearts, and we have two amazing children. We have a daughter, Jalen, who happens to be a senior in college at Tennessee State University. And then we have a son, Dominic, who is a senior in high school. And so, we met, like I said, in college, fell in love, and the rest is history, as they say. So that's just a little bit about me as a wife and a mom. But let's just talk about me, as an individual, right? Because a lot of times when people say, "Hey, tell me about yourself," we start rattling off titles, right? And so, listen, I am someone who, first and foremost, is a woman of God. My faith is center in my life. It's very key and it's important. And so you're going to hear me throughout our journey together on You Can Have It All. I'm going to be talking about my faith in God, and because I am just so blessed, right? I'm so blessed to be able to even to be in a position to be talking to you all right now on my own TV show. And so God is so amazing. So I will never apologize for that. Listen, someone, I am passionate about seeing people win. Right, I'm passionate and really about helping people, determine their best self and get to their best self. And so I have a passion and a heart for serving, equipping, educating, and empowering women, to live their best life. Right. A few years ago, that was a term, living my best life. Right. And I always ask people, are you truly living your best life? And so You Can Have It All. We're going to be talking about that, right? I have my own business. And so I have a training and development consulting company called Mindwork Solutions. I started that in 2014 when my life basically took a turn. I was someone who listen, y'all, I was somebody who did everything my parents told me to do. Right, Leslie, go to school. Leslie, get good grades. Leslie, go to college. Get that good corporate job. Get the marriage, the house, the two dogs. I did all of that, y'all. And in 2013, my life kind of just took a change. I was out on medical leave, recuperating from a major surgery, and I got notice from my employer that I was going to be displaced. And so at that moment, y'all, I told God, I never want to be in a position where I allow somebody else to dictate my income. And so God told me, frankly, Leslie, use what you have. And I was in training and development in the corporate world for probably about 15, 16 years. And so I took my skill set, y'all, and I transferred that into my own business. And so now I have Mindwork Solutions, training and development consulting business, where I consult with major corporations on how to best, get what they need out of their employees when it comes to training and development in any industry, right? Not only that, I love helping people get back on track with their finances, with their credit. So I am a credit consultant with an amazing company that I partner with and been helping people since 2014. Because guess what happened to me? My credit got jacked up. So y'all, we're going to be transparent on this show. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. But this kind of gives you an idea of why I'm so passionate about really equipping, empowering, educating people when it comes to their credit, because that credit is so key. So we're going to be talking about finances and credit and all of that on here. And then, I'm an author. Yes, your girl is the author. I wrote my first book. I think it was in 2019. It's called Finding Your Footing on the Balanced Beam of Life. Because listen, ladies, we know we can be all over the place, right? Our lives can be chaotic, it feels like we are just so out of balance that sometimes we don't know if we're coming or we going, because oftentimes as women, we just do things on autopilot. And so we're going to be talking about, how you can balance your life and build that empire. This is all around how you can have it all without having to settle. So I am an author. I am a motivational speaker, a transformational life coach. Really, I help people transform their mind and go from being unsure to sure, right? Go from I can't to I can. I help people tear down those limiting self-belief systems that we have on ourselves. I help people understand, recognize their worth, because I went through a time where I didn't think I was worthy. And we're going to get into that on some of these episodes, where I doubted who I was. I doubted my self-worth. I doubted my value. And I looked for value, approval from other people. not realizing God had already validated me. And so y'all gonna hear me say a lot on this show. Validation is for parking. You're gonna catch that later on, right? Validations for parking. And so that's just a little, a little bit about me. I am a sibling. I have four sisters and brothers. Thank God that my parents are both still living. So I love my life, but it wasn't easy. The life I have now, I'm so grateful to God for it. But was it easy? No. And so this whole show is really around. This is something that God gave me, right, y'all? Like I told you, I would never apologize for my faith. But this is this topic, that we're going to be talking about. You can have it all, right? And you probably can't see my shirt. I don't know if you can, but I'm wearing a shirt and it says, on the screen now for y'all. You can have it all, right? And so it's around, us understanding that we can really live the life that we desire. We can live the life that we dream of. Like we can have everything that our heart desires, and God's word tells us that we can have it all. And so tonight, tonight, whenever you're watching this show, we're going to be talking about I'm going to be asking y'all this question, right? We're going to be talking about settling. And so the question is, are you settling? Or have you ever settled? I want you to think about that, right? And when we look at the word settle, y'all may see me look off because I have some notes and stuff. We family, right? And so just know we cousins and all that now, right? And so when we look at that word settle, right? Let's look at the word settle. So settle means to take up an ordered or stable life. To take up an ordered or stable life. To adjust, it also means to play small. And so often in life, we typically not even realizing that we do it. And sometimes we have realized that we settle, right? We begin to settle. And so I want you to begin to ask yourself these questions, okay? Have you ever said or heard someone say any of these things, right? I've been here for 5 years, so I might as well just stay, right? I may not be ready to move up. I may not be ready to start my business. I may not be ready. I'm just not ready yet. Maybe this is not for me. Like this is for other people. This is for other people, but this is not for me. It's not for me to live in a multi-million-dollar home. It's not for me to travel all over the world. It's not to me, it's not for me to drive my luxury car or whatever that thing is, right? It's not for me. It's for other people. Okay. I guess it just wasn't meant to be. Right. We may miss an opportunity. I guess that just wasn't, it just wasn't meant to be. Maybe I'm not supposed to get married, right? Maybe my life, I'm supposed to get single. This is all my single ladies out there, right? Sometimes we think about, why is it taking me so long to get married? And you start to say, well, maybe I'm not supposed to get married, right? Or your relationship, looking at your relationship, that's the best I can do. This man, he the best I can get. I'm just going, it is what it is. I'm just going to make it work. But deep down, you're not happy. Or we may say things like, after my children, I'm going to do this. After my children graduate, I will, y'all fill in the blank. Because sometimes we'll put our lives on hold. Why? For our kids, for our spouses, for our significant others, right? I can't do that. It's just too hard. It's just taking too much effort, right? I can't start that business. I can't go back to school. I can't write that book, right? I just can't. It's just too hard. We may say things like, someday I'm going to fill in the blank. These are things I want you to start asking yourself. Have you ever said these things to yourself? I know I have, y'all. I can't be the only one, right? I'd rather have somebody than not to be had anybody, right? Selling. I'd rather have somebody. I'd rather have this relationship knowing that it's not the right fit, knowing that you're not happy, than to be by myself, right? And so we begin to think about that word settling. We have to understand, where does that come from? Where does it come from, y'all? We're gonna have some mindset shifts on this show, right? We're gonna laugh, we're gonna cry, right? We're gonna elevate, we're gonna grow together. Right? We're gonna have some aha moments together. And so, begin to ask yourself, have you ever heard those things? Have you ever said those things to yourself? Because I have. And so why is that? So there's, our mind cannot tell the difference between perception and reality. And so a lot of times, y'all, it's us. We telling ourselves what we can do, what we can't have, right? We're the culprits typically. Other people here are telling us, but so are we. And so when you begin to settle, right? Think about settling. There's three key components, to recognize that you are settling in life. There's three things. Number one, compromise, right? Yes, you should compromise. There are going to be some times when you compromise, but when you find yourself compromising for everyone all the time, and no one is taking into account your feelings, no one is taking into account the things that you desire and you want. Like you're this person, you compromise for everyone and everything but yourself. That's an indication that you're settling in life, right? You become complacent, right? You just okay with living this mediocre. Not I don't even want to call it, but you just become complacent. Like your dreams, your desires, your goals, they begin to fade away over time. Think about this, right? When we were young, um, and people ask you what you want to be, right? And you probably had these high aspirations of what you want to do. And now think about today, are you really doing that thing that you said you wanted to do when you were 8, 9, 10 years old? I remember I became complacent. I'm not gonna even front. I was working for this company, y'all, and it was like gravy, right? It was because I could do the job with my eyes closed. I worked from home. And I became complacent, even though I knew deep down inside there was more to me. I wanted more, but it was easy, and I started coasting. We got to a point where you start coasting, right? And you're like, maybe I'm not gonna go for that promotion. Maybe I'm not going to ruffle the feathers and even apply to another company, right? Maybe I'm not about to, jump out there and start that business, because we become complacent. And so once you start to become complacent in one thing area in your life, guess what? You start to become complacent in other areas as well. So I want y'all listen. I know y'all have some moments. I know y'all have some aha moments, and you thinking back in your life now, right? And then the other thing is get comfortable. We get comfortable at where we are. We get comfortable. We get comfortable maybe with, where we live in. We get comfortable with maybe the car we drive. We get comfortable with, the people we hanging around. We get comfortable, with the job we have right now. Like we just get comfortable. But there's something deep down inside of you saying, no, there's more to me than this. There's more to life than this, right? I want more and I deserve more. But a lot of times we get comfortable, which leads to us becoming what? Complacent, which also leads to us compromising, which ultimately leads to us settling in life. And so I want you to understand that, you can have it all. There's no reason why we have to settle. Think about this. We serve a great God who owns everything, right? He owns everything. And so why would he want his children to settle and live a life of not of lack, live a life of just and enough, live a life, where you're barely making ends meet? That's not the God who we serve. And so a lot of times, people can make us feel guilty for wanting more out of life. People can make us feel, like, we extra, we think we all of that, right? Because they may not desire those things. And I'm not just talking about materialistic stuff, right? Let's just get that out the way, right? I'm talking about being, wealthy in your mindset, being wealthy in your body and your health, and how you feel. I'm talking about, those things, not, material things. Those things come and go. And yes, for some people, that's a way to determine, your status, your success, or whatever, but that's not for me, right? I thank God for what the things I do have, about, and all of that. But I'm talking about when we settle, knowing that God desires to give us more. And I don't know, I wish I would have pulled this up, but I don't know if you ever seen that meme, right? Where it's just like this little girl and she has this little small teddy bear. And then there's an image, and it's, image of, portraying Jesus, right? And he has this huge teddy bear behind his back. And he's trying to exchange her teddy bear for what he has. But because she cannot see what he has, she wants to keep her teddy bear. And that's what we do when we begin to settle. When we begin to settle, when we become complacent, when we become comfortable. It's like God has something in the background that we don't even know. He's trying to say, no, this is what I want for you. I have more that I want. I desire to give you more. You're gonna have life and you're gonna have it abundantly. And we don't want to exchange that, right? We want to hold on to that. Or we are afraid. And so we begin to settle and live this complacent and this life that may be not fulfilled. And so ask yourself, have you ever settled in life? Think back on relationships, be it, love relationships, right? Be it just friendships, right? Your career, where you're living, have you ever settled, and another thing, and this just came to me, right? This analogy of is basically, like, think for example, like you decide, like, you want to go out to dinner, okay? And you got your heart set on having a, let's say lobster. I'm just going to use that as an example, right? Or crab, some seafood, like your favorite thing. You have your heart set on like lobster. You go to this restaurant, that's what it's known for, whatever, right? And when you get there, you can't wait, and they tell you, oh, we don't have that, but we have this instead. So now we have a decision to make. Do we say, you know what, I'm leaving this restaurant and I'm going to get the lobster from somewhere else that I wanted, or do I settle for what they're offering me? Now I know I can't be the only one. It just happened to me recently. I went to this restaurant and I wanted, I can't remember what it is. I wanted something. And I was like, this is what I want to eat. We got that. They was like, oh, we out of that today. It just happened like the other day to me and my husband. It was like, we out of that. And so we both said, like, oh man. Right. And so we had a decision to make. Do we get up and go somewhere else to get what we wanted, or do we eat what is there? And, just because of inconvenience and stuff like that, we settled. And we ordered something else off the menu. And so oftentimes, we don't even realize that we're doing that, right? And so I want you to think about, those times when you have maybe settled for something. And you have to begin to ask yourself, why did you do it? Why did you even settle? Like for us instantly with that restaurant example I just gave you, it was because, we didn't feel like driving to somewhere else, right? Right. We had driven, a pretty good distance or whatever. And we was like, we're already here. Let's just go ahead and just get what they have. Right. And so sometimes we do that in life. In those major decisions, those major things, we will begin to say, I'll just keep what I got. I won't go after that promotion. I'm not going to start that business. I'm not going to go after try to get that home. I'm going to just keep this relationship, even though I'm not happy in it, right? We begin to settle because it stems from us not believing that we deserve more. It stems, y'all catch that? It stems from us not believing that we don't deserve more. And I remember, y'all, when I struggled, there's a period in my life where I struggled with feeling valued. And it wasn't until recently that I understood why that happened to me and what happened over that time when I was struggling with feeling valued. And so I remember I was in graduate school, and here I was somebody who went to college, right? In my undergraduate school, I went to a historically Black college institution. And for graduate school, it was a complete opposite. So I went from being around people who looked like me all day, all the time, to the opposite, being the only me in my classes. And I experienced, racism from some of my professors. And one of my professors in particularly, and this just goes to show you how you could begin to second guess your value and your worth, right? Because I grew up understanding who I was, right? Always was outspoken. Was a leader from a young age, understanding that God had called me for greatness. But in this period in my life, I'll allow someone else's perception of me to make me question my value and my worth. And so this particular professor, I was in graduate school. And so it didn't matter, y'all, what I did. If we had a paper that was 2 pages, 50 pages, if I worked on it, the day before, 3 weeks before, I got the same exact grade, a C. And when we think about C, right, this is a thing that we have to watch even with our children today, right? Even with the school system, these grades, that C told me that I was average. Paper after paper after paper after paper. Like I said, it didn't matter how much time I spent on it, y'all. That C told me that I was average, even though I knew I deserved better. Even though I knew my paper was an A paper, I would get a C. And so that began to weigh on me. That led me in a time of my life. And looking back, when I first got into the corporate world, I was very shy. I would play small, right? I wouldn't go after promotions. I would, I would just be in the background because in my subconscious mind, I was average from that professor. I was average. And then here's the thing to this, y'all. This is racism. But and I knew it. And so a friend of mine at the time, and when I was in school, he didn't look like me, right? But we were good friends. And I, expressed, things to him. He said, "Well, let's do this. We're gonna try this out, right?" He was like, "I'm going to turn in your paper, and you're going to turn in my paper." Now, back then, that probably would have got us in a lot of trouble, but nobody knew it, right? And so we did that. And y'all know what happened, right? He got an A, and I got a C. So, not only did I experience that racism, but what it did to me, right? It made me, like I said, it caused me in life to sometimes to settle because it did something to me that even I didn't realize until like not too long ago, right? Of why I would, be this team player all the time. Why I would be ashamed to tell people my accomplishments, not to brag or boast, but to even be ashamed of my, I would downplay things all the time because I had began this life of settling. And it wasn't until, I began to really look at who I was in God and for God to begin to reveal things to me of, "No, my daughter, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are the apple of my eye," right? You are above and beneath. I only want what's the best for you. You don't have to, you don't have to, think about how other people feel about you. Just understand who you are in me. And I have already validated you. I have already called, appointed, and validated you to do great things. And so, today I want you to just really think about, are you settling in life? And if you are, why is it? Why is it? Because guess what? You can have it all. And so, we're going to get ready to wrap up. I would love for you to definitely please share this episode with someone. You never know, who may need it. I look forward to seeing you guys on my next episode. I am so excited on this journey that we're going to take together. And just like I told y'all before, we're going to laugh. We're going to have a great time. We're going to cry. We're going to have some aha moments. We're going to change our lives together on this journey. So buckle up, get ready for the ride because it's going to be a good one. All right. Until next time, I'll see you again. Love you, mean it. Deuces. Bye-bye.